welcome back to the Herbalist Hour. Today we're doing our second annual Good Medicine Confluence Roundtable, and we're joined by many herbalists, along with Jesse Wolf-Harden, one of the co-organizers of the event. Welcome to the show, Jesse.
Thank you so much. What a pleasure.
Welcome to the Herbalist Hour. This is where community gather, merging the power of people and flowers, the sweet and the bitter to the salty, the sour. Umami, it's time for the Herbalist Hour.
So this is the second annual roundtable that we're doing here, but what number of the Good Medicine Confluence is this?
14th annual.
Wow. It's quite the feat. What are you looking forward to about the event?
Well, every year I say it's needs to be better than the last, and every year I'm more and more impressed with the teachers that come. I mean, the original teachers from Seven Song to Paul Bergner, Matthew Wood, it's amazing. And yet the new voices that are coming up are even more emboldening. We're at a time in this world right now where healing isn't just a matter of fixing our bodily wounds. It's our emotional wounds, the wounds in this divided culture, the wounds between us and the earth, and the people that are being attracted to the center of this confluence are people who make that not just their work, the way of making a living, but make it their heartful mission.
Would you say there's a theme this year, or any sort of themes that you're seeing with the teachers or the classes being taught?
Well, every year there's a balance between science and spirituality, feeling, intuition. Every year there's a balance between clinical usable tools, materia medica, how to make specific medicines, but also how to embrace your connection to the plant, human nature relationship, how to build community, how to start a business. But each time I've noticed, and this year in particular, there seems to be a magnetism towards what is being called an alchemical approach, which is to say people like Phoenix Aurelius, Kenneth Profrock, Logan Custer, there's been so many, Warren Kistenbroker. And what they're bringing to it is this sense of change, that we are the instruments of change, and the plants are one of the allies that we work with in order to change how people feel, how well they're doing, how this world of ours is doing. And so I would say this is the year of alchemy.
I love that. You mentioned a few teachers right there. How many teachers do you have at the event this year total?
40 teachers at the moment.
You do nothing on a small scale, Wolf.
Well, it's 5 classes per slot. And so each person picks out what is the most useful and meaningful to you in the moment. And of course, there's not too much overlap in terms of topics in those slots. I work really hard so that, you don't feel too awfully torn. But yes, there's 5 that you would benefit from, 5 incredible classes. And then each person picks the one that's most moving to them and most instrumental for them in the moment. And so 40 teachers teach these classes, which are 1.5 hours, 2 hours, and some are even 2.5 hours long. So we're talking in-depth, not just presentations, because I guarantee you there's no PowerPoint allowed at the confluence. What you have is people erupting ideas that are outside of their script, that are sharing with the people on a one-on-one level that's not just, mentor and student, but it's rather human to human. And they're having things revealed to them at the same time that they're revealing things to their attendees. And that's just an especially magical environment. And that's one of the things that it says in the application for teachers is, please give us proposals that are unlike anything else you've done, the ones that keep you awake at night, the ones that you dream about, the ones that you feel most moved by personally. So I wanted to reflect their experiences, their newest ideas, as well as the latest scientific research or whatever. But I wanted to come to the milieu of that person's connection to their inspiration.
I was going to ask you about that. That's one of the things I love about the Confluence is just all of the incredible ideas that are being brought forth in these classes. And we just kind of did these interviews. We're recording this intro after the fact, and just listening to all of the amazing classes that are going to be taught. I'm just like, oh, mind blown, mind blown, mind blown, over and over again. So yeah, the attendee is definitely in for a treat. Well, let's talk about some just basic event details. What's the venue, the location, the date, and all that jazz?
This year's Good Medicine Confluence will take place in Durango, Colorado, which is in the San Juan Mountains, some of the wildest mountains left in the Rocky Mountains. And it's high above the little town, the tiny little mountain town of Durango, mostly outdoor-oriented, herb-loving people in a state that's made all kinds of herb legal, I should point out.
Okay.
And then high above that little town, you wind up on this road and you get up to it almost like a plateau, and it's almost like a Hogwarts feeling. It's this itty bitty school of Fort Lewis that's all landscaped in native, plants and trees that is a reflection of the mountains in the area. And everybody that comes there has somewhat of a nature and culture agenda. And so they have hardly any students in the summer, so we basically take over the entire event. We're surrounded by the peaks of Colorado, just outside of the Native American reservations of the Navajo and the Hopi. And we are in a place that's full of spirit and magic. I can't even imagine putting it in another place. This year will be from the 10th of July through the 13th of July, with a bonus day on Sunday, the 14th, nice, for plant walks and in-depth plant experiences. But it's important to note that while we greatly support bioregional gatherings, this is not one. There's only a small portion that are from the West or from the Rocky Mountain West that are teaching there, at the most a fifth of them. The rest are coming from all over the world. Literally, we have teachers coming from outside the United States and from vast amount of the states themselves. So they're doing what they have to come thousands of miles sometimes in order to participate in an event that's a community that ties together all these different people who only see themselves once a year, and ties them together, teaching each other, sharing, and becoming lifelong friends. So it's really an event for those people who feel drawn to the magic of making your herbalism not just your business, but your fairy tale, making it your life. And the people that I care most about, they're not only excellent thinkers, excellent clinicians, excellent medicine makers, but they're the people who walk around on their knees like children looking at a new plant they've never seen before, who are so moved by the mission of herbalism that they would do it for nothing if they had to. Those are the people that I want to help gift to the world. And the Medicine Confluence, why we don't call it a conference, Mason, is because it doesn't qualify. There are none of the rules of a conference. We don't separate teachers from the people that are coming. We don't have them all, just behaving and acting in a certain way. What we have is a rewilding of education. And therefore, it's a confluence of all these different ways. The country redneck homesteader, the homeschooler, the progressive from the Northwest, the radical activist from Florida, all of these people coming together in what is like a confluence where the streams come to make one vast river. That vast river is the Good Medicine, the river of good medicine. And each and every person who comes, not just our totally amazing teachers that I'm so humbled to present, but every attendee is an element and an ingredient in that special tonic and that special magic.
I never thought to ask you what the title Good Medicine Confluence, and I just love the picture you painted there. And absolutely, yeah, it's a very interactive event. And yeah, after interviewing a lot of the teachers for this event, yeah, a lot of their classes do seem to be hands-on. Kyle teaching his aromatics class, you could picture all of them in there making incense together and all that. And Amanda Crooke's herbal smoking blends, you could just picture everyone around, creating these beautiful blends, smoking together.
Third of the classes are hands-on.
Yeah.
You actually they're not just demonstrating, but you're helping them create medicine, helping them make the food, helping them create the smoking blends. And so
Yeah.
it's all about making this a life, not just thinking, oh, I need information, but
Right.
our life is something we do. It's something we give. It's something that we grow. They don't call it herbal practice for, for no reason at all. It's because
Right.
practice that we all need to do, and we need to do it together.
Absolutely. Are you
We're
going
a
to be
piss,
teaching? Sorry, go ahead, Wolf.
are a piss poor conference, don't get me wrong, but one hell of a life changing party.
Amen. Are you going to be teaching any classes or more kind of like the MC and everything?
I'll, I'll be giving a talk, as I always do every year,
Yeah.
and I'll also be teaching one class, and it will be on misfits and the edge. The edge being the hedge itself, the sacred hedge, that demarcates the civilized from the wild, the possible from the unknown, uh, the physical from the so-called spiritual, but also about being a misfit and the ways in which we can take our differences and have it be mechanisms for bringing us all together. You know, that, okay, you don't fit in, you're not a normie, you don't just go to a normal doctor, you use plants, your mother thinks you're crazy. You're not going to make as much money at this as you would have doing some things you could have studied for, but you love it. It's your specialty, it's your life, and you'll give everything to it.
Awesome. Well, where can folks go to register for the event?
Go to our website, first and foremost, planthealer.org, and go to the event pages. There's a one page just about registration, it gives all the details. Super cheap lodging this year. Last year was a little expensive for folks, especially when we're attracting so many alternative on the edge folks who don't have that kind of money. $19 per bed at its cheapest from the dorms.
Oh, wow.
And so it's really, we've done everything possible in order to make this affordable for everybody. If they don't have the money, they can apply for work trade. They can offer us barter. They can do whatever it takes to get there, and we will do whatever it takes so that they can make it happen.
So that's July 10th to the 13th, with the bonus day being the 14th. Did I get that right?
Correct.
Yeah, and even just that alone, that is very lengthy for an herbal conference. You're really going to build family and friends by the end of it. And like I always say, Plant Healer does nothing small on a small scale. I definitely want to point the listener and viewer in the direction of signing up for Herbaria, your monthly newsletter. Those are all like 90 pages long every single month. So y'all do a great job with that as well.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, very good. That's planthealer.org to register. Now let's get into some of these interviews. Well, welcome Dara Saville to the Good Medicine Confluence Roundtable.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. How are you doing today?
Doing great. My garden's starting to grow. I'm happy as can be.
It's an awesome time of year. Yep. Here in Wisconsin, we're seeing plants sprout up all over the place. And yeah, it gets us super excited. So, well, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what you do as an herbalist?
Yes, of course. I'm the director of Albuquerque Herbalism, which is a bioregional community herbalism program here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We educate community herbalists, and also I'm the director of the Yerba Mansa project, which is a nonprofit organization. It's my community organizing project that I do with a lot of other wonderful individuals and partners, and we organize our community to engage in land stewardship in our Rio Grande floodplain and caretaking edible and medicinal plants, replanting, reseeding, and doing habitat improvements with our community. And I'm also a PhD student at in a joint program at the University of New Mexico and New Mexico State University, and researching the knowledge that plants hold for helping us to live with environmental change.
You're keeping busy. Wow. Do you have roots in Albuquerque? Have you been there for a long time?
Yeah, I've been here for about, I think, coming up on 27 years now. So I'm very firmly rooted in these desert sands. I love my home wholeheartedly.
Absolutely. Well, I think you've been to the Good Medicine Confluence before. Am I correct?
Heck yeah, I've been there almost every single year that
Wow.
it occurred.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you're a longtime attendee and teacher, presenter. So what are some of the classes you'll be teaching this year?
Well, I'm excited to continue on with my teaching themes at the Confluence that center around living with environmental change and what that means for us as herbalists. I have a background that's balanced between the humanities and biological sciences, so I try to bring that together for people. I'm teaching two classes that are interrelated. One's called Anthropocene for Herbalists, and the other is called Botanical Medicine for Environmental Futures. And they're interrelated in that the first one, Anthropocene for Herbalists, is more theoretical, philosophical, and the second one, Botanical Medicine for Environmental Futures, is more practical and more applied. So we'll be talking about what environmental change means for us as herbalists, interacting with our clients, making our product lines, educating, whatever it is we do as herbalists. That's an important role because a lot of people are presenting with eco-anxiety and ecological grief as a new thing we all have to deal with individually ourselves, but also with the people we work with and work for. And also, as herbalists, we need to think about how that changes our practice, what plants we're working with, what plants are going to be moving forward with us locally where we live, what plants are going to be fading away or perhaps moving to other areas. There's a lot of changes that people are experiencing and that our plant world and environmental world are experiencing. And so my goal is to help give people an opportunity to think about that and give some practical tools for moving forward as herbalists in a changing environmental world.
Okay, so I've heard the word Anthropocene before, and I can't recall the definition. Can you describe what that is?
Right. It's a really debated term, and I love controversial topics. So this is one of the reasons why I enjoy discussing it with people. There's a lot of different views on it, but essentially it's confronting human-caused environmental change and what that looks like locally, but also what it looks like globally. What are the indicators of environmental change? What does that mean for us as living beings in this changing world and as beings who depend on mutualistic relationships with plants and animals and the land as a living entity itself? And so the Anthropocene is really a concept for working through all of this that helps us to define the rapid and escalating and intensifying changes that we're experiencing on all scales.
Well, I could see why you've been selected to continue to teach at the Good Medicine Confluence, because I could totally see that's right up Wolf's alley. Like I'm sure he'll probably be attending that class. I could totally see him loving that. But what are you looking forward to the most for this year's event?
Oh, the same thing every year, giving Wolf and Kiva big hugs, whether or not they like it. I really, really look forward to seeing them and my whole herbalist community. One of the things I love about the Good Medicine Confluence is the large number of repeat instructors and repeat attendees. And so it's like a big family reunion for those of us who come regularly year after year. I really look forward to seeing my friends from around the country and sometimes even farther flung than that. And so it's just a beautiful coming together of my extended plant people family, and just being able to see everyone once a year is just such a treasure. And we have so much fun just catching up personally, but also professionally, and talking about all the kinds of important issues that we're dealing with in our work. And so I'm really looking forward to all of that reconnecting that's going to occur.
They do a great job with that, where they do bring back a lot of the same teachers, but at the same time, I want to give them props and kudos because that Wolf and Kiva, they're always trying to find different herbalists to bring and really facilitate expanding that herbal family at the event. So yeah, I absolutely love that about herbalism events in general. Yeah, you really can't beat hanging out with just a bunch of plant nerds like us.
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Well, just a couple funsies questions. Are there any plant allies that you've been really fond of recently that you've been working with?
I feel like that's asking me my favorite color. It really just changes on my mood, because
Sure.
it's hard to pick. But Globe mallow is always like the first plant that comes to mind as I think probably my most important personal ally. It was the first plant that really beckoned me into this botanical wonderland that I live in now. And so I just have this eternal overflowing gratitude for globe mallow, the Sphaerosia species, which are very common where I live in the Southwest. And it just was a life-changing encounter. I had no idea when I met that plant on a dirty roadside how that encounter would change my life so profoundly and teach me ways of living otherwise in this world. So globe mallow is always in my heart as someone I just have so much gratitude for. I can barely speak when I really think about it.
I knew I'd get one out of you, so thanks for sharing. Yeah, I have to assume it's mucilaginous, probably a good plant ally to have in the desert.
Heck yeah, cooling and moistening, that's the antidote to the environmental stress that we live with here. And it's a plant that helps to remediate not only heat and dryness, but also disturbance and upheaval and recalibrate body systems that are out of balance. And so it's a teacher always of what's happening environmentally and ecologically is also happening inside of our bodies. There's no boundary between those things. And plants do the same work, living their lives every day in their ecosystems as they do as medicines inside of our bodies. And so that's always how I teach plant medicine. If you're in tune ecologically and environmentally, all the plant teachings are right there. Plants are doing the same work out there as they do in our bodies.
Love it. What is something that you love about being an herbalist?
My human and non-human community. I'm a very introverted person by nature, and I think I could be reclusive to a fault, and the people and the plants and the land that I work with and work for just draw me into really meaningful relationships that really enrich my life. And my work, I think, just keeps me doing that and loving that and realizing it's all worth every effort I make every day. So I'm just very thankful to all the wonderful people who are students, who are volunteers, who are partners in my work, all of my teachers and mentors, all of the plants and the land who have given me so much and continue to nurture me and sustain me and make me feel like I belong and I have a purpose in this world. And so I'm just really, really grateful for all the relationships that my herbalist work creates for me.
Well, you're an inspiration, Dara. I really look forward to getting to know you more. We got to have you on for a full hour-long edition on the Herbalist Hour. That'd be amazing. So thanks so much for joining us on the Good Medicine Confluence Roundtable. Anything you'd like to, well, actually, where can folks learn more about you and your work, and any closing thoughts before we wrap up and get out of here?
You can find me at albuquerqueherbalism.com, the Yerba Mansa project.org, and you can find me and my book, The Ecology of Herbal Medicine, and all of my other writings at Saville.com.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much once again for joining us on the Good Medicine Roundtable, and we'll talk to you soon, all right?
Thank you.
Hey everyone, it's Mason. Just a quick interruption from the show to let you know about our 13 herbal freebies. If you go to HerbRally.com, on the navigation bar at the top of the page, you'll see a button that says Freebies. Just click there and you'll sign up for our email newsletter. And in exchange, we're offering 13 herbal freebies. That's ebooks, webinars, videos, downloadable audio, and discounts to cool herbal companies. So if you'd like to check out these freebies, as well as sign up for our email newsletter, we update you about current events, new monographs, new videos, etc. Just go to HerbRally.com and click on the button at the top of the page that simply says Freebies. Okay, that's it from me. Now back to the show. Hi, Mary.
Hello, how are you doing?
Doing great. How are you doing?
Good.
We're talking a lot lately. I was
Yeah,
on your
we
show.
seem to be. We seem to be, huh? But it's the first time I've seen you.
That's
We
right.
talked, like,
Yeah. Here
on
we are.
video.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it looks like I think you'll be coming on the show, next week or Tuesday or something.
Yeah. Sure
Very
will.
good. Well, cool. Well, welcome Mary Colvin to the Good Medicine Confluence Roundtable. Have you been to this event before, Mary?
No, this is going to be my first time. I tried maybe I think it was 2 years ago, but something came up and I wasn't able to make it. So I'm looking
Okay.
forward to it. Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna have a blast. It's an awesome event. Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about who you are, what you do, maybe plug your book if you want?
Sure. I'm a registered herbalist and a clinical herbalist, and I also do some formulation and consulting with an herbal manufacturing company called Spriggs Life.
Hmm.
I'm also a mentor and educator, and then I'm also a speaker and author of the Herbalist Guide, How to Build and Use Your Own Apothecary, which is taking pre-orders right now, be released, I think, May 7th.
Oh, awesome. It's coming up quick. And
Really quick.
this episode will certainly be out before then. So, dear listener, please go pre-order the book. We'll leave links to that in the podcast show notes as usual. So since this is your first time at the event,
Mhm.
what are you kind of looking forward to it from based on what you know about the event?
You know, I just finished doing my podcast recording with Jesse.
Oh, nice.
And I am so excited because he talked about his tribe, and the community. And I love meeting new people, and I love to meet other people that have the same type of passion, that you do. And yeah, I'm really excited to be there.
Very good. Well, what are some of the classes you'll be teaching there?
Well, I had 3 different classes. The first one I'm going to be teaching is the trick with dosing. And we're going to be talking about herbal preparations and the different kinds of herbal preparations and how to dose those along with individual recipients. Because really, I think that that's information that's really not a lot of information out there, especially for those that are just getting into herbalism.
Okay.
Yeah, and the second one, I'm going to be talking about clients with anxiety and how you help them. And it's going to be a conversation. So we're just going to sit down and talk about all the different types of causes that there could be, things that it can go along with, and then sit down and talk about some stories. I'll talk about my clients and how I've helped them too. And then the third one's going to be mental health crisis. And this is how to determine if your client is in a mental health crisis, and then how can you help them and what type of resources can you give them for that?
Okay. So any little tidbits that you could share with the audience here? I know that's a big topic, but how do you help someone with that?
It's all about understanding the steps and understanding the questions that you can ask them. I'll be honest, when I first started in clinical herbalism, and the first client that came to me that was contemplating suicide, I didn't know what to say, other than, hey, have you seen a counselor?
Right.
I felt empowered by taking this Mental Health First Aid USA course. And it just helps you to know what questions, how you can determine if they really are in a position where they can follow through with that. And, then the different types of resources that you can help them with. So it's really important. I think all herbalists, anybody who's going to be working with clients, or even just to understand, with your own family members and friends.
Totally. You mentioned the second class that you were teaching. It's kind of like an open forum for the audience.
Yes.
Are you kind of expecting it to be very interactive, where you're hoping a lot of other clinical herbalists are in the audience, kind of chiming in with their experience and everything?
Absolutely. Even with, somebody can talk, even if they're beginning, I'm just hoping that I can showcase, the different types of causes. And, I'm sure there's so many people that have dealt with anxiety. And, it's one thing that you will see a whole lot of clients come in with. Yeah. And it's very informative. And I'm hoping to get the participation. Yes.
Are there any plants popping up around you currently where you're living?
It is just barely, but I saw my spice bush blooming. I saw obviously some garlic mustard is out there beginning, and I see chickweed beginning, and some nettles just starting to come up. Of course, I've always seen the violet leaves, even throughout the winter. There's still some, but I haven't seen it blooming yet. I'm looking forward to that. And of course, cleavers is just starting to come up right now too.
Remind me where you're living. You're in Ohio, right?
Yes, Northern Ohio.
Awesome. That's right. Very good.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, Mary, what is one of your favorite parts about being an herbalist?
I mentioned, and Jesse mentioned that tribe and that community. I just think there's nothing like it. And I really feel supported by other herbalists. And I'm hoping to be there to help support others that want to get into herbalism as well as other herbalists. So it's all about community, I think, and connecting to the plants. That is so important. And I really think, helping our Mother Earth and helping the earth sustain, what's to come.
Absolutely. It always comes back to the plants and people and the plant
It really
people.
does.
Absolutely. Well, where can folks learn more about you and your work?
Well, I have two different websites. One is ancestralherbology.com, and that's all about my consultations and my events in the area. And then I also have a new one called herbalistmentor.com, and that one's going to be dedicated to more of the training and resources and mentorship. So there is a free membership opportunity on that I do offer some free videos and presentations. More will be coming as I get that going. So they can take advantage, anybody can, of that. And then I am on TikTok at Simple Training Herbalist. I do offer some training and herbalism videos there as well.
Don't you have like 1 million followers on TikTok or something?
Not a million.
I remember you told me the number and I was like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah,
Mary. Good
it's
job.
almost 35,000 right now. But
That's incredible though. Great job. And you mentioned this a couple times, but I also want to point the listener in the direction of, since you're a podcast listener, Mary also has a podcast, Herbology Talk, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and I was on it a couple weeks back, maybe a month or so ago, and then you can listen to Jesse Wolf Harden on there. It sounds like coming up as well. So
in the next
Herbology
couple
Talk.
of days.
Awesome. With Mary Colvin. Super fun. Definitely recommend you go subscribe to that on your podcast player of choice. So thanks so much, Mary, for joining us on the Good Medicine Confluence Roundtable.
Thank you so much for having me. You take care.
All right, you too. Talk soon.
Bye-bye.
Welcome, Amanda Crooke, to the Good Medicine Confluence Roundtable.
Thank you, Mason. I'm happy to be here.
And where are you calling from?
I'm calling from a small park by a creek, and my daughter is playing in the playground nearby with my husband.
Lovely. Well, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your work as an herbalist?
I'd love to. So I'm an herbalist. I teach herbalism classes, mostly to beginner students. I also lead ritual events like circles for the seasonal holidays, shamanic circles, that sort of thing. I teach classes in person, in the classroom, and then also outside, of course. And then also I have online programs, and I'm shifting more towards courses that are just delivered via email so that people don't have to log in anywhere. I enjoy writing what I call ecological fiction.
The forest story.
The forest story, yes. Yes, and I used to have this offering called Letters from a Witch, where you could get a physical letter in the mail that was like sort of fiction. It was like a fun project.
That's super fun. Yeah, and I'm talking to you as if the HerbRally audience doesn't already know who you are. You've been on the Herbalist Hour before, so welcome back. Have you been to the Good Medicine Confluence before?
I have not. And in fact, I've only been to conferences in the Northeast. So I'm excited to be at a conference in a different part of the country, view the different mix of people.
Totally. Yeah, you're in the New Jersey area. That's your business is Locust Light Farms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what are you looking forward to? You mentioned the Northeast. What are you looking forward to visiting the Southwest and discovering that ecology?
Well, this is in Colorado.
Yeah.
I haven't been to Colorado since I was a kid.
Yeah.
So I'm just excited to be there.
Totally.
Yeah, and just be in the mountains and
it's pretty epic out there. So have you heard very much about this event before? And if so, are there any particular things about it that you're looking forward to?
Well, I'm very excited for the Masquerade Ball. That is what I'm most excited for. And the thing that I wish I could bring a great outfit for it, but I'm only going to be traveling with carry-ons because I'm bringing my daughter with me. And so I don't know if I can bring like a whole special outfit, and I'm already disappointed in myself for that, but I'm like really excited for the Masquerade Ball.
So I take it you like to boogie down then?
I love dancing. I look for any excuse to dance, every single kind of dancing. I
Well,
love it.
it'll be a party, and there's likely vendors there that might have something that you might be able to purchase, just even if it's
Uh-huh.
like a little mask or something like that. But awesome. Well, what classes will you be teaching there?
I'm teaching 3 classes. I'm teaching um, mocktails and cocktails, herbal mocktails and cocktails class. I'm teaching phytochemistry and medicine making, and an herbal smoking class.
Nice.
So, and those are all some of my favorite things to teach.
Okay.
So I'll be bringing a lot of pre-made cocktail supplies. And then we'll be just talking about, different ways to make fancy herbal drinks, basically, and then sampling them, sipping them. So that class should be fun. That should feel kind of like a party. And then we'll also be teaching an herbal smoking class and bring herbs to smoke. So that'll feel more like, maybe not quite a party, but definitely a nice hangout.
Chill vibe.
Yes, exactly. And that'll be nice because, I haven't really done that in a few years, like had kind of an herbal smoking circle. That it used to be easier to do that when I had just like my shamanic circles in the garden. And I haven't done that with folks in a few years since I moved into a classroom space. So that actually, I think, will be really nice. And it's nice to try to sample different herbs. I'll probably bring some blends, and then I'll bring different herbs to smoke on their own. And that can be a really nice activity to do too. It's something that's the sort of thing that one doesn't always set aside time to do on one's own,
Mm-hmm.
And then, phytochemistry and medicine making, that's might be one of my favorite classes to teach right now. I really like teaching beginner level phytochemistry. I think that it seems like an intimidating topic, but the way I teach it, I like to feel like I give some really easy to remember takeaways that can really help just basically with medicine making, and to make sure that the herbal medicines you're making are potent and that you're using the right solvents for the right herbs. Or even if you're not medicine making, it really helps you be a more discerning consumer, because of course in the herbal world, we all need to be very discerning consumers when we buy products, just to make sure that what you're buying is going to be medicinally potent and safe. I mean, usually things are safe, but just to make sure that you're actually getting medicinal products. So, and I think even a 1-hour phytochemistry class can really help you do that.
Totally. Yeah. Nice little intro. Is that one of the classes that you teach at the David Winston School?
I actually don't teach the phytochemistry unit, but I do teach the medicine making unit.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I have a feeling that smoking blend class is going to be super popular. One of our earlier Herbalist Hour episodes was with Leon Bruno with Puff Herbals, and that's one of our most popular videos, just based purely on the YouTube search "smoking herbal blends."
Yes.
And are there any particular plants that you like to throw in your smoking blends besides the base, like the mullein and stuff like that?
I really I love smoking catnip. I think that generally catnip is a very underutilized herb.
Agreed.
And I like the flavor of catnip. I like the calming effect. I think that catnip as a tea, I mean, well, in any form, tea or a glyceride or a tincture, but and smoked, I think catnip can be great for just social situations and helping to encourage conversation, helping people to open up with one another. So I think when you're smoking in a circle type of setting, catnip's a really nice herb for a blend. I also personally love smoking hops, but never by itself. By itself, I think it can give you kind of that frontal headache because it can be pretty strong. But I like when hops are a smaller part of a blend. Yeah, I love hops.
Me too. I like it in beer. I don't know if I've ever smoked it before, but no, I probably have. It's probably been something I smoked. Awesome. Well, where can folks learn more about you and your work?
locustlightfarm.com. And then if you really want to stay in touch, I'd recommend signing up for my newsletter. That's where it's at. I'm not as on social media so much.
That's what we appreciate about you. And I'm on your email newsletter as well, and I love getting those in my inbox. And you're a great writer and storyteller, and I feel like you really just draw the person in that's reading it. So good job. Go to locustlightfarm.com, sign up for Amanda's newsletter, and thanks so much for joining us on the roundtable.
Thanks, Mason. Thanks for having me.
Have fun. All right. Well, welcome Ashley Ellen Boss to the Good Medicine Confluence Roundtable.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Well, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do as an herbalist?
Sure. I'm a Minneapolis-based herbalist, so I live in Minnesota, and I've been a clinical herbalist for about 15 years. I've worked on farms and been gardening, and I think kind of my main work these days has been teaching. So I teach online herbal apprenticeships. I lead women's gardening circles here in my home garden, and I teach yoga and yeah, and I teach herbs to kids, which has been really fun. I just started doing that in the last year, teaching kids about botany and getting them comfortable with getting to know some of the common plant names in the area.
And that's through, I want to say Sky House Herbs. Is that
Sky
correct?
House Herbs, yep.
Awesome. So as a new Midwesterner, what would you say the herb community is like in the Minneapolis area?
Well, we moved here in the middle of COVID, so I'm still getting to know them. But so far, it's been wonderful. I think there's just a lot of people who are interested in herbs. I know there's a number of herbalists who were kind of spread out through the Twin Cities area. So I'm hoping here in the next year to get out. I have emails and feelers out to different people in the community. And so I'm slowly just starting to set up tea dates and herb walks and meetings with the local folks.
Awesome. Well, let's hear about some more of the classes you're going to be teaching at the Good Medicine Confluence. What classes are you going to be teaching and what are they all about?
The first class I'm going to be teaching is called The Magic and Medicine of American Vervain. One of my favorite plants of all time is Verbena hastata, or blue vervain. It's been a lifesaver for me with all sorts of conditions, and I had kind of a magical encounter with it in Michigan, which actually brought me to move back. It was like one of the pivotal experiences that brought me to move from the East Coast back to the Midwest, which is where I'm from. I'm from Minnesota originally. And so I'm going to teach about the historical uses of blue vervain, some of the things that I've noticed that it's been really helpful with in clients and students, and then the science, like how does it work? What does it contain? And I'll be bringing some different types of tinctures that I've made so people can sample it in different types of alcohol and as a tea, that is a bold experience, but I love it as a tea.
Super bitter.
Super, super bitter. Another class I'm going to be teaching is called Mystic Plant Partnering Through Guided Meditation, a Plant Walk and Art. And I did this at the Herbal Confluence or the Good Medicine Confluence last year. And basically we sit and we go into a meditative state. We take drop doses of herbs. We do some journaling, and then do some art and kind of just get sort of the more creative part of our mind to connect to the spirit of that plant. And we do that with a few different plants. Then we'll go into the woods and just sort of see what plant speaks to us. So it's not the traditional herb walk, like, here's this plant, here's how you use it, but more like what plant's calling to you. And then students are going to sit down and I have some guided questions that they'll ask the plant just to see if they can start to open up a dialogue.
Nice. So those are the two classes you're teaching then?
Those are the two I'm teaching. Then my husband and I are teaching a class together. My
That's
husband,
cool.
Adam Ellenboss. Yeah, he's an astrologer with Nightlight Astrology. So we're going to be doing sampling the herbs of the stars, where we're going to combine and look at the planets and plants and the correlations between the different planets and different herbs and how you can use them personally based on your sun, moon, and rising sign. So that should be a really fun class too that we're excited to teach together.
Have you ever taught with your husband in person before?
Yeah, when we owned our yoga studio in Maryland, we used to teach plant spirit or what do we call it? Planet and plant classes and workshops. We would go to local bookstores and teach them. And yeah, so we've been teaching together for about 10 years, but it's been a little while. It's been a few beats. So this will be the first time we've been teaching together. I want to say maybe in like 4 years. So I'm pretty excited for that.
Can you plug your husband's YouTube channel? Because I want to say last I checked, there was like over 100,000 subscribers, something like that. Yeah. Or am I exaggerating that?
That's a little higher. I think he might be at like 60,000, but
wow,
he's,
that's impressive.
he's he's got some people, which is cool. So it's Nightlight Astrology. And so you can follow him on YouTube. That's where most of his content, he does daily astrological content. So pretty much like 300 days of the year. Plus, he puts out content on what's going on astrologically and then monthly horoscopes. So you can check that out too.
Wow, I thought HerbRally put out a lot of videos. That's impressive. Daily.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, so you've been to the Confluence. You went last year. How would you describe the experience?
Heavenly. I mean, it's wonderful. I think, the mountain air of Colorado is just medicinal in itself. And then just to walk into a place where everyone, the herbalist twinkle, like the twinkle in the eye of herbal people in
Totally.
the woods, right? Like
Yeah.
you walk in and it's like Twinkle City. And, everyone is excited to see other plant people and see one another. And I met so many amazing people. Everyone's, looking out for each other. I love that about the herbal community. They have vendors so you can sample and see, people making spagyrics. It's fun. I brought my two daughters. They were 5 and 7, and they just, it blew their mind. So I'm excited to bring them again, and yeah, just sort of be with herbal people again.
What was the childcare like there, or
So
activities or whatnot?
Last year was a little bit challenging because my husband got altitude sickness. So we were going up and down the mountain like several times in a day. So we didn't get a chance. There were a lot of herbal circles where they would have kids like reading books, like there'd be an adult reading books and doing some activities. But I know that this year they're planning on doing a lot more organized kids' activities. So I'm probably not the best person to answer that, unfortunately.
That's fair. Yeah, I went to the one that was in Durango, which I know they're back in Durango this year. I can't recall what the altitude is like, but I imagine it's pretty high as well. I'm pulling this from the memory banks, but I want to say I heard Rosemary Gladstar once say if you dose up on a bunch of reishi before you have to head to altitude, it's like good for altitude sickness. I'm not sure how effective that is or not, but sweet. Well, are there any plant allies that you're currently really infatuated with?
I've been really into black cohosh. It's interesting. When you and I were talking about ancestral medicine on my podcast, black cohosh it's black snake root. And I feel like whenever I want to go one level deeper and dig a little deeper into what's happening, what I'm feeling, I'll take some black cohosh, and it just drops me really deep into, I think, a state of knowing, and I can access a lot more information. So I've been playing with that plant for the last maybe 6 months, and it's been a great ally.
So maybe there's a Ashley Ellenboss Black Cohosh class coming soon at some point.
That's a good idea. I would love to teach on that. Yes.
Love it. Well, a couple more questions. What do you love most about being an herbalist?
I like knowing the names of the plants. Like I feel like I have all these friends. Like every time I walk outside, I get to say hi, even if I don't know, because I'm like new to Minnesota, but I get to go outside and I know so many people, like plant people, because they're,
Yeah.
they're right there. And so I think for me, just walking around in the world, feeling like I've got friends and allies and medicines everywhere I go, and even in other countries, I know enough botany to be like, oh, I know what family you're in. I have a sense of what you might be able to do. And that for me is a real comfort.
That is such a good point. Yeah, I learned all the plants, not all the plants, a bunch of the plants in Oregon, and then coming out to the Midwest, I'm like, hey, I know you, or at least I know your relative,
Yes.
same plant family. So yeah, that's such a fabulous answer. I love it. Awesome. Well, where do the listeners learn more about you and your work?
Sure. Folks can go to my website, skyhouseherbs.com, and you can find out more information about my herbal apprenticeship, which I am hosting. It will launch in April, but you can take it at your own pace. So if you
Nice.
don't join in April, you can always join at any time. Also, my YouTube channel, Sky House Herbs, I do weekly content on all sorts of topics. Herb of the month, I have people like Mason on, and also just talk, one of the subjects I really enjoy talking about is addiction and recovery. So I will be, I have topics and classes on that too on my channel. But I think, those are the two places where I seem to kind of hang out the most.
Awesome. And definitely hang out with Ashley in person at the Good Medicine Confluence. You get to see the herb twinkle that she was talking about. And all three of your classes sound amazing. So
Thank
rad.
you.
Well, and you're going to bring the kids again this year, or?
Yes. Yep. So
Awesome.
kids will be in tow. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And if, please come. It will blow your mind. It is an amazing confluence. And, everyone, you'll get greeted by so many smiling faces. It's amazing.
Including Wolf, who you mentioned earlier.
Wolf. Oh, he's the best. He's just one
Kiva
of my
too.
favorite humans.
I know he was interviewed on your show as well, so I'll be sure to leave a link to that in the podcast show notes and whatnot. So, well, thanks so much for joining us on the Good Medicine Confluence Roundtable, Ashley.
Oh, thank you, Mason. And thank you for your work promoting it and promoting so many herbalists in the field. I really appreciate that.
My pleasure. All right. Well, let's welcome Cassandra Lynn to the Good Medicine Confluence Roundtable. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Yeah. Excited. Is this your first time attending this event?
Yeah, it'll be my first time. I haven't attended or taught at this specific conference, so I am really excited. It's also my first conference I'll be teaching at. So.
Oh wow, that's
a
great one to do it at. It's a wonderful vibe, wonderful community. So yeah, you're absolutely going to love it. It's in Durango this year, which I've actually been to that event when it was in the Durango campus, and yeah, absolutely gorgeous. Have you been to Colorado before?
No, I haven't been to Colorado either. So
okay, all right. Lots of firsts. Oh,
yeah.
You're in for a real treat. Well, why don't we start things off with just hearing a little bit about you and your background. And just for the listener, if you want to learn more about Cassandra Lynn, I interviewed her for a full hour over on the Herbalist Hour. I want to say that's episode 45. I just looked that up. But we actually got to do this in person at your beautiful shop called Rooted Remedies in Eugene, Oregon, my hometown. But why don't you tell the audience a little bit about who you are, what you do, and all that?
Yeah, I'm Cassandra Lynn. I'm the herbalist and owner of Rooted Remedies, as Mason just said. I do a lot. I run the shop, and I have a full product line that I make. And within that product line, I wildcraft about 40% of all the herbs I use. And then the other herbs I've hooked up with local farms. The majority of the other herbs I've hooked up with local farms. And go and like weed their farms.
Oh, cool.
And I also source a lot from Oshala Farm down south in Southern Oregon. So try to keep everything as local as possible. And I also teach workshops and classes, and I just started doing consultations. So
amazing. And shout out to Oshala Farm, presenting sponsor for the Herbalist Hour. So yeah, you can't go wrong with those folks. I love the idea where you're at other local herb farms and you're weeding for them and you're using their products. And yeah, that's such a great way to build relationships with the community. But yeah, then you're creating all this beautiful, vibrant medicine as well. So tell us a little bit about the classes that you'll be teaching at the Good Medicine Confluence.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be teaching at this confluence. The first class I'll be teaching is called Nourish Your Nervous System. And I'm going to really focus on how to not only incorporate herbal herbs and herbal medicine into how to nourish the nervous system, but just in a holistic way of bringing mindfulness and drinking water and sleep and getting outside.
Crucial.
Yes. Yeah. The little things that often get overlooked. So, but yeah, the herbs are just, the nervous system loves herbs, and it's such a beautiful relationship that I want to really touch on. And then the second one is eating your herbs. One of my teachers, Paul Bergner, would always say, like, eat herbs, get your dirt time in, like really have that experiential relationship with the herbs. And I'm in Eugene, Oregon, and we live in such an abundant area where there's wild food everywhere. So I'm going to translate that over into the Durango ecosystem and talk about the local plants there.
Awesome. I have to ask, being a Eugene native myself, what plants are popping up right now? We're recording this March 25th.
Yeah, nettle. Oh, so many plants are early this year. It's
a
little overwhelming. But nettles popping up. I just saw some stream violets the other day. Plantain, cottonwood has come and gone for the harvesting, but
I love
cleavers,
cottonwood.
chickweed, yeah.
Did you know that violet is the Wisconsin state flower?
No, but I love that.
Me too. I found that out when I moved here, and I would have violets growing in my house, in my yard in Springfield, Oregon, which is neighboring
Yeah.
Eugene, and they grow in our front yard here in Appleton, Wisconsin, as well. And they're like, I don't want to say they're like vegetables, but they seem much more exaggerated. They're a lot bigger here in Wisconsin, from what I've noticed. At least just your standard neighborhood violets. So yeah, absolutely love that plant. Definitely developing a bigger relationship with them out here. But so you've never been to the Confluence, first time in Colorado, even. With some of the people I'll be interviewing, I'm going to be asking them, what are they looking forward to about the what is the experience like at the Confluence? But since you've never been, what are you like looking forward to?
Yeah, so I feel like I haven't gone to a gathering in years, especially with the 2020 with the pandemic happened, and I'm so excited to gather with other herbalists from all over, and it's such a nourishing, sweet experience to be able to do that. So really looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to teaching my first workshops at a bigger Confluence. Little nervous.
I was gonna ask, so you're a little nervous, okay, but you're gonna do
yeah.
it. You're gonna kill it. I love it. Yeah,
I'm gonna do it. Yeah. I teach workshops here, which are so fun. I just had one, the first one yesterday of the year, but it's a bigger audience. Public speaking isn't always my forte, so I'm getting out of my comfort zone.
Well, good for you for, presumably Wolf asking you, Jesse Wolf. And then you just said, you know what, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to do it. And you have so much knowledge to share. You've been doing this for quite some time. So I'm proud of you for doing it. That's very exciting.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, just a question for funsies. Are there any particular plants that you've been working with lately that you're fond of?
Yeah, well, nettle. I've been working with nettle a lot lately. One of my favorite things to do at the beginning of the year is to harvest with no protection, and kind of just let nettle do their thing. And every year I seem to forget that also means no sleep for that night.
Right.
Because it's so
I can see that.
stimulating.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but it's also a sweet initiation into the year and working with the plants. So nettle's been a big one, and then Tulsi, really working with my adrenals lately. So
you're the only other person just now when you said that about nettle being stimulating, because I'll say, oh, I have a nettle nourishing herbal infusion, and I've literally had insomnia from it, where I could not sleep. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, that's just a standard nourishing herbal infusions, but it's incredibly stimulating for me. And especially if like you're working with a fresh plant, you might prick yourself. That's stimulating as well.
Yeah, nettle is very stimulating for me as well. And every year I forget how stimulating it is, the fresh especially.
Totally. Yeah, it's not even like a caffeine thing, but yeah, I feel like my mind is buzzing after a full quart of nettle nourishing herbal infusion. But so what do you love most about being an herbalist?
Oh, that's a hard question.
It's a big topic.
Yeah.
You can just say you like plants.
Yeah, I love all of it. I love going out and communing. So I'm a wildcrafter, and going out and communing in nature away from people is one of my favorite things. But this year I'm going to focus on experimenting with growing a really small herb garden, and I'm excited to meet the plants in that way. But probably one of my favorite things about being an herbalist is just the community that it attracts. Everyone is just the best.
Absolutely. Well, you're gonna have a blast at the Good Medicine Confluence with that type of answer. Do you like to dance?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That from what I recall, there's like a big dance party, like a masquerade ball and stuff like that. So if you got like some sort of costume, you should definitely bring it. Yeah, they
Good
usually have
to
like,
know.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, you're gonna have a ball, and yeah, I'm just really stoked for you. Where can folks learn more about you and your work?
I have a website, rootedremedies.co. The M does not lead you there. It's not .com. And then I'm also on Instagram and Facebook and all of those things. But
And
I have a
that's
newsletter that I
oh yeah.
try to focus more on than social media. So
What can you find on your newsletter when you send them out?
all sorts of things. So I do a monthly like highlights, and I like to highlight the different vendors that I have at the store and different workshops and classes, because I'm not the only teacher that teaches things at the store. And then the different events that are happening around, and I also do a monthly recipe working with herbs.
Nice. I asked that rhetorically because I'm on your email newsletter list, so
Oh, yeah.
I see them. And
Yeah.
yeah, so dear listener, go to rootedremedies.co and sign up for the newsletter. And you can also find Cassandra at Rooted Remedies CO, I think, on Instagram. Is that right? .co. Thank you. I got that wrong in our Herbalist Hour interview as well. So, all right. We'll leave links in the podcast show notes and all that good stuff. So, any parting words you'd like to tell the audience before we get out of here?
Just really excited to have this new experience and adventure and connect with more herbalists. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Well, awesome. We'll talk to you very soon, Cassandra. All right.
Great. Thanks. See you, Mason.
See ya. Cool. Well, welcome to the roundtable, Heather.
Thank you, Mason.
Glad to have you. Can you tell, this is Heather Luna, by the way. Can you tell the audience a little bit about who you are and what you do as an herbalist?
Well, yeah, who am I? That's a question of my life.
Who are
right
you?
there. Been a practicing herbalist in a clinical practice for over 25 years. And we've done various things over the years, product companies, taught lots of classes here and there. And then sort of the culmination of my work really came together in 2016. And I started the Acorn School of Herbal Medicine. So that's been my daily grind for the past several years now. And the beautiful part about running this school is that I get to do every level of my work. We get into the pharmacy medicine making. We're working with treatment of acute conditions all the way through chronic disease. I run a free clinic. You get to see students learning their materia medica and herbal energetics. And then you get to see advanced students really learning their clinical skills, doing interview, follow-up, client relationships, and then you get to launch them into this, like, go practice and witness them take people and transform their lives. So that is what I do. I get to oversee everything from the baby sprout baby herbalists to the practicing professionals, and foster them and nurture them and be their biggest cheerleaders. Yeah.
I love your enthusiasm. You could tell that you love what you do.
Yeah, well, it's the reward is there, it's really powerful stuff to see people's lives transform. I don't think there is a better thing to do with your life.
Where are you based again?
I'm housed here in Nevada City, California, small rural mountain town. And since the COVID pandemic, the school has moved online. So with the Acorn School, we actually are now an online community learning base that is worldwide. We have students in Canada, Ireland, France, all across the US. It's pretty rewarding. Yeah.
I've never been to Nevada City, but everyone that I meet that's from there is a totally righteous human being. And I want to say there's a lot of strong like herbalism roots there as well. I want to say Kathy Cavill's out there.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I got to visit there at some point, but
you got to come out. We have a wonderful herbal network. Kathy Cavill, Amy Branham, Jawway, who runs the local Remedy Garden herb shop. There's a lot of, backwoods, rootsy people that are just nature lovers and radical activists to boot.
Very cool. Well, if I'm to hear correctly, this is going to be your first time at the Confluence?
Yeah, my first time presenting. It's a privilege. I did get an honor to attend as a participant a few years back. And so, yeah, this is my first time presenting.
That's exciting.
And but there is something wonderful about conferences where everyone gets to share their plant people communities. When they come together, there's magic that happens. And So I'm really looking forward to that, especially this confluence. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So, well, since you've been before, can you kind of describe to the audience the general energy there, or what they can have to look forward to?
Just, I think of all the conference events, this one in particular has a sort of magical juice to it. It's more of a laid back feel, and it's, certainly people are really doing their work, but it doesn't have that like stuffed shirt, I'm pretending to be the best clinical herbalist kind of vibe, which you can pick up at some conferences. It's just getting real. Like, let's just be real, and it's authentic, which that's what I love about this event.
Absolutely. Well, what are some of the classes you'll be teaching?
I've got 2 classes I'll be teaching, and these are wonderful topics that sort of exemplify the vitalist therapeutics that we teach in our school, and they wrap some case studies in there, so I get to show results of our clinic with these topics. But the first one is class I'm calling What We're Made Of, and it's based on the nutritional component of vitalist therapeutics. So we're certainly herbalists here, but we find that in the treatment and transformation of chronic disease, you don't get the same results until you employ the nutritional element. So it's what I'm using in What We're Made Of. It's sort of like the tissues are made of the foods that we eat. So it's a review of human dietetics throughout traditional peoples around the world and history. What do people eat traditionally? And using the key elements from that support the transformation of modern chronic diseases. So it's really, I get to use my case studies, which I love. I can say, like, here's this case and here's how we got there with this transformative results. But a lot of it is nutritional dietetics. And then we add herbs to support the healing process through that journey. So it's what we're made of. It's really looking at, how do you rebuild a human being? It's like rebuilding a house. You have to look at the building blocks and make sure they're all in the right place and all the right elements are there for construction. So it's what we're made of. That's one of the classes I'm teaching. And
can I interrupt real fast?
Oh, please, yeah.
I just got to say, if I'm remembering correctly, Paul Bergner's an instructor at your school, right?
Paul Bergner he's my primary mentor. I've trained with him almost 30 years ago now. And
I just love listening to him talk about this too, because he says the same thing. He just loves calling back to his his clinical studies. And I totally see that in you as well. So I think that's really neat.
It's true. I can't help it. I am a product of Paul Bergner training. And
right,
I've been practicing in his methods for my entire career, and I do see the results. So it is profound. So he does he co-faculty in my clinic program with me, and we use his advanced material in our programs, and it's a gift. So we have that flair. Sorry. Should I tell you about my other class?
I interrupted you. That's my bad. Please continue.
No worries.
What else are you going to be teaching at the Confluence?
The other one I'm doing is a class on anti-inflammatory energetics. And this is more of an herbal-based class talking about vitalist humoral elements. So, everybody knows what an anti-inflammatory is, but in herbal energetics, you have some anti-inflammatories are hot, some are cold, some are moist, some are dry. And then you have the cascade of like, what is inflammation? It's red, hot, swollen, and painful, right? So the idea is that we can just use our energetic empirical observations to pair the correct herb for the correct stage of inflammation. And I kind of I got off on this as a kick one day, because you just hear people throw around the world this herb is anti-inflammatory. And it's like, okay, what do you really mean? Does it turn off a headache? Is it going to stop my joint pain? Is it going to turn off my systemic inflammation? What are we talking about? So this class, Herbal Energetics of Anti-Inflammatory Herbs, really gets into the nitty-gritty of okay, let's break it down. Let's literally look at the cascade of inflammation in the body, and let's look at the herbal energetics so we can empirically pair them and find the right match. So, yeah.
That seems to be in the herbal zeitgeist right now. I want to say I saw Chanchel Cabrera saying a similar rant about the anti-inflammatory statement as well. I could be misremembering that, but I want to say I heard her. Was there another class that you'll be teaching?
No,
Or?
I'm just doing 2 this year. That's a full plate for me right there. Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, they both sound incredibly fascinating, and yeah, that's just so neat. I want to say, I've taken lots of classes with Paul Bergner as well, and I want to say he always goes on all these scientific diatribes, and then all kind of always comes back to diet, exercise, sleep. Maybe throw some magnesium in there, and I just love your approach as well, Heather. I think it's going to be a boon to the Confluence, so they're lucky to have you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's a privilege to share. And I'm not quite as science-minded as Paul, but I'm much more practical and clinical-minded in the sense that you try A and you get B as your result. So that's where I come in with my evidence. Yeah.
I love it. Well,
Yeah.
where can folks learn more about you and your school?
My website's a good place to start, acornherbschool.com. I have an Instagram page for the school, Acorn Herb School. There's a newsletter. If people want to sign up, you can go to the website. There's a newsletter sign up right there on the homepage. And we do send out monthly announcements and plant profiles and case studies. If anyone's interested in reading case studies out of our clinic, there's always
awesome.
Publications in there as well. And yeah. Oh, and I did just start a new YouTube channel. I'm a baby YouTuber.
Awesome. I'll go subscribe right after this.
Yeah, I'm still learning. Forgive me, but I'm working on it.
I will tag you.
Awesome. Thanks. Appreciate it, mates.
Yeah. What kind of videos can folks expect from the YouTube channel in the future?
It's a little mix, but there's some medicine making stuff on there. So
Nice.
I just recently did one on making oximals. And there is a longer one on there on percolation tinctures. Just little fun things of me out in the field talking about, blackberries or chickweed or whatever is in bloom and in my face.
Totally.
So yeah.
You're gonna love being a YouTuber. Our good mutual friend Jesse Wolf Harden is one of my favorite YouTubers. So yeah, you're gonna love it. Thanks once again for joining us on the Good Medicine Confluence Roundtable, and we'll have to have you back for a full hour on the Herbalist Hour at some point.
I look forward to it. Yeah, I look forward to
absolutely.
connecting everyone at the Confluence.
Amen.
Yep.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Well, welcome Kyle Denton to the Good Medicine Confluence Roundtable.
Thanks, Mason. It's great to be invited.
That's right. Second time on the show. We got to continue the tradition. I'd love to go back and visit you in your beautiful shop, Tippecanoe Herbs in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. But can you tell the audience a little bit about who you are and what you do as an herbalist?
Yeah, I'm Kyle Denton, herbalist, community herbalist. That's the least baggage term. I like that one a lot. I do a lot of clinical work. I make my own medicine. I have a retail shop. So I'm foraging. I'm a teacher. I have a herb program. So it's like all the pieces of pie that you can have as an herbalist. I think I got my finger in each one. And so community herbalist is just fine for me. And so yeah, that's as far as like all the pieces of the pie go. Really excited to put on my teaching cap and come on down to Colorado this summer for the Medicine Confluence. So that's gonna be exciting for me. That's really exciting for me.
Oh yeah, I can tell. And yeah, I've been to the event a couple times, and it's an awesome event. And just for the listener or viewer, we do have a full hour interview with Kyle, as I was mentioning on the Herbalist Hour, so you get the full story, as well as we also have an awesome herb shop tour video, so you could go behind the scenes and check out the beautiful Tippecanoe Herbs in Milwaukee. But you mentioned your excitement for this event. Let's get granular here. What are you looking forward to about the Confluence?
I was thinking about that earlier today, and the expression that came to mind is meeting old friends for the first time.
Oh, I like that.
That's what I'm excited for. I don't know a lot of people in the herbal community at large. Like I've never actually met a lot of people. I've been in my own little zone here in Wisconsin. And when Wolf reached out to me over a year ago and invited me to last year, and we were just talking and just had a real great connection with Wolf already, and knowing the type of experience that he curates from people like yourself and from other people who have mentioned it. I know that finally going to be going to a conference where I'm going to where maybe the outside some of the things I just feel like I'm a kind of a weirdo as far as herbalist goes. And so I am really looking forward to connecting with a bunch of other people who have other types of interests, these types of interests, and not knowing them, but connecting with them in a way and establishing that connection as if we were old friends all along. And that type of event, it is something that can be planned as it is, and it's curated as it is. But these actions in the world are organic, they have to be cultivated in order for them to organically come up. And so that's what I'm really excited about. I'm really excited about the tribe, I guess, if that's the word I want to use, is just like connecting with all these like-minded folks and being propelled outwards even further because of all of the eclectic interest and topics that are going to be at this conference this summer. So to me, it's very, and I'm also excited too about the topics that I get to present about. Some things that I'm really passionate about, some things that I've always wanted to have a venue to talk about and have the opportunity. And so, yeah.
Well, your finger's on the pulse, Kyle. That's a nice segue to my next question for you. What are these classes you'll be teaching at the Confluence?
So I wish I had my notes in front of me. I could tell you exactly the title, but I'll give you the from the heart
Sure.
Perspective. So one of them is on the world tree, the medicine of the myth and medicine of the world tree. So I'm really interested in the world tree as a cosmological symbol, something that is present in every tradition, which is the representation of the center and the central axis that binds worlds, that binds the heavens and the earth, that binds the mind and the body, things like that. We have fractalities of that in a cosmological sense from the world tree, and then microcosmically reduced into the community, and then even further into the family, like the hearth. We have this idea of like a central location in the house, the hearth, where all the stories are, and even you burn the tree there. And then even into the individual, where we have our Shishumna, the channel that goes up and down our body that connects us with our spirit and our body. And so for me, I'll be presenting about the different medicines of the different versions of the world tree throughout many different cultures. We could say, like, for example, Norse culture, this is a really common one, the ash tree. We could talk about some medicinal applications of that, and also in reference with this greater perspective and cosmological picture. So that's one, and I'm very excited about that. Another one that I've been working on for years, and I've been doing this not as a class for years, but in my shop as a medicine making, is astroaromatics. And so every single sign that we go through in the tropical astrological tradition right now, as we're speaking, we're in the sign of Aries. And so I've been, for several years now, I've been making products that are matching up what I consider plants of Aries in an incense blend, and then also in other medicinal products as well, but in particular incense, which I'm really fond of, as an alchemical preparation that is made with the hands and with intent and prayer into like a little prayer that you can unpack later and light it. And of course, the smoke goes upwards as a prayer would. And so an example of that would be like right now in Aries, we have dragon's blood resin, which is it looks like a red rock, like it's from like somebody picked it off of Mars, and it's got this lovely aromatic quality, but it has a little bite to it. It almost makes you feel like a Martian or like a Roman century or something, cinnamon and clove and igniting spices. And so we're going to go through the zodiacal path and match up some of the herbs with the zodiac. And then in that I'm going to say it's a workshop, because we'll be playing with it'll be a enlivening experience where I'll have some charcoal, we'll be able to smell, we'll be able to play, we'll be able to understand these qualities. It's not going to be like here's me telling you about it. We'll be able to connect this viscerally in time. And that one is really exciting too. And then I've been given the opportunity to present for 3 classes, which I'm super excited
Congrats.
about. Thanks. Yeah. And so the 3rd class, I'll be talking about my experience with vitalism, and I'll be going through, I'm kind of, it's going through logic, going through imagination, taking vitalism and seeing what is actually scientific according to the scientific method, what has been refuted according to the scientific method, using poetry and imagination, talk about my own experience in humbling with learning and relearning, not knowing again, and being open to the mystery of health and disease. And so that one is a very important topic to me as a practitioner and as a advocate for truth, I guess you could say.
Kyle, you're going to fit right in. I think I've mentioned this before. I have a good friend, Logan Keister, based in Oregon. He's an herbalist as well, and he'll be presenting at the Good Medicine Confluence. Definitely link up with him. We just did a Herbalist Hour interview with, he was co-hosting with, where we interviewed Phoenix Aurelius, and I think you 3 will all vibe together. And yeah, it's sounds like an awesome time.
Yeah, I'm fond of his work a lot. I actually caught.
Phoenix.
I've learned about him from your program, and then I've been following his work, and then also saw that he did an interview, or if Phoenix interviewed him. I'm fond of Phoenix's work too. I've been taking some of his courses, so yeah, I'm really excited.
Y'all will be homies for sure. Well, this has been a blast. Everyone, thanks so much for listening. And Kyle, where do folks learn more about you and your work?
Come to tippecanoeherbs.com for my medicinal creations, and I have my school and educational outlet at rootradical.org. Tippecanoeherbs.com is where you can also find my clinical work if you want to book some appointments with me as well. I do a lot of remote stuff, and yep, so there you have it.
Yeah, and I want to point the listener to a couple of your products. You have an educational product, which I think is really cool. I want to say it's called Herb of the Month, and you just go in depth on one herb each. Oh, I'm sorry, Herb of the Week.
Herb of the Week, yeah.
Herb of the Week, and that's 52 herbs per year. And I've listened to one of them. You actually let us publish one of them on the podcast, and it was they're just so information packed. And I wanted to point the listener in that direction, but then also you gifted me with a Libra box. I don't know if that's like an online offering that you do for each zodiac sign, but I thought that was really cool. Speaking of the class you'll be teaching at the Confluence, is that something that folks could buy online as well?
Yep. And so I make a limited amount of boxes of a curated medicines for each time we're in, and when we're out, we're out. Right now we're in Aries. We got a few left. We got some Aries hairspray, which is in there, and I got a really fun Aries ignition, like circulation tea, and some other stuff. We like to make flower essences. We like to make hydrodistillations, incense, all kinds of stuff. I'm a big fan of like DIY zines. And so this is another reason why I'm also fond of Wolf's work too. And so I always do a little write-up in a publication and a little, old school punk rock zine. It's in all of these boxes too. So, yep.
Thank you for sharing. Thanks again for joining us on the Good Medicine Confluence Roundtable. We'll talk to you very soon.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks, Kyle. Well, that was awesome, Wolf, to listen to all those different interviews. Each one's bringing their own unique flair, but then somehow also ties together, as you were saying in the intro. There's a very alchemical feeling to it, I'd say.
Well, I'm totally amazed at the plant teachers that we have. The teachers that came on here today just really touched my heart, and also absolutely everyone that's coming, all the attendees and all the teachers. What it is a tribe. I mean, when you talk about Kyle saying, it's like meeting friends it's like coming home to a place you've never been, as well as finding kindred spirits that you didn't know you had. You're not alone in this work. And even if you don't make it to the Good Medicine Confluence, plants are the ways that we connect. They're the unifier. The natural healing is the earth and nature working through us. And those are our people. Those are your people. And you'll never be alone in this work. You are a beautiful gift. Use it.
So how would you like folks to feel after they've attended this event?
That's really those feelings that keep it going, because year after year we think about perhaps it isn't that practical to do yet another year of this, especially at my age and with so many other interests that I have. But then I have people writing me and then coming up to me at the end of the gathering with tears in their eyes, expressing one overriding emotion that these are my people. This is my work, and I am worthy of the blessing of the plants and the blessing of this community, of this tribe. And that makes it all so well worthwhile.
Absolutely. It's like we were talking about, with your YouTube series, Plant Healer's Path. Sometimes, it may be discouraging if you're not getting, say, like millions of views or whatever. But even if there's the couple of comments from folks saying that they see things in a new way, or they've been inspired by what you said, that makes it all worthwhile.
Truly.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks, Wolf, for joining us. And thanks to you, dear listener and viewer, for joining us for the Good Medicine Confluence Roundtable. We'll have to do this again next year.
Absolutely.
If you keep doing it.
Venture and savor.
Amen. All right, y'all. We'll see you next time. And that's going to do it for today's episode. Thanks so much for listening to the HerbRally podcast. If you'd like to hear more from us here at HerbRally, we now have a text message community, believe it or not. Basically, it's just updates from us. We send about 1 to 7 texts per week, notifying you about new events, videos, courses, podcasts. You get the idea. It's pretty much like our email newsletter, just in text form. So if you'd like to receive text messages from HerbRally, just text JOIN, that's JOIN, to the number 541-256-2895. Again, that's JOIN to number 541-256-2895. And to stop receiving texts, that's easy too. Just text STOP to the same number. It'll opt you out immediately. Okay, thanks again for listening. Have a great rest of your day.